glad that you were able to make it over here today. We have a special treat for everybody. We are going to do a little shopping today. Is everybody interested in doing some shopping today? And then we're going to have some Santa's helpers come in and help you with your shopping. All right, let's get it.
So I got 3 Squishmallows, a Roblox cart,
And these are my new slippers.
that one is that.
Oh, hey. I mean, dude, we haven't even started.
Got the controller, the PS5, she on the game going crazy, winning all the games. You know how that goes.
I mean, they had their helmets and shoulder pads on yesterday. Today they've got elf suits on and a pair of Santa Santa Claus today. And, you know, having identity outside of football, being able to give back to the community. And this gives them a kind of a respite to go back and remember that growing up and being a kid. And they're kids for today. And that's kind of the fun part.
And we say happy Christmas season to you. Happy Wednesday morning, as always. Buddy Songy in here on a hump day. 1 week from Christmas, we are taping Tigers Roar for you. Myself and Jonathan Poche behind the glass. Hope all of you doing well. And you see BK taking the kids shopping. One of the great perks about being a coach or a player at a place like at LSU, you give a chance to give back. And we tell you kids right now, if you're watching this on a replay or whatever, 1 week away from Santa coming, and you better be good because he is watching all of you. And speaking of shopping, look, it's been a couple of weeks since we've done the show. We've had a lot of stuff going on. But we are now going to recap and tell you about Brian Kelly and his latest shopping list. It has been phenomenal of what they have done in the transfer portal, and we're going to chronicle that. LSU plays Baylor in the Texas Bowl 2 weeks from yesterday. That will be New Year's Eve at 2:30 in the afternoon. Nuss and some of the guys are going to be playing in that game. JP and I will talk a little bit about that. And, of course, the first round of the CFP playoffs opening up this weekend, Friday night, in a very frigid, cold South Bend. Touchdown Jesus, as we know, is going to be in Big Lights. Notre Dame hosting Indiana, 7 o'clock in the first CFP first-round game, and then there's a triple header for you on Saturday with SMU at Penn State. Clemson, the team that LSU will play at next year with the opening game, their version of Death Valley on August the 30th in 2025. But Clemson and Dabo got in it, beating SMU late on a field goal. And, of course, as we know, they travel to Penn State 11 o'clock. SMU at Penn State, 11 o'clock. Clemson at Texas, 3 o'clock. And then a big one, Tennessee at Ohio State, Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Women's and men's basketball did great things yesterday. We'll start to get into a little bit more of the basketball talk with LSU. Both teams doing well. They both have two similar problems, turnovers and lack of big men and big women down. But Coach Mulkey and Coach McMahon will get them going. And without further ado, we bring in our he's actually the host of this show, and I'm the analyst. But since we moved into our new studios, we kind of had a little role reversal. So, JP, happy holidays to you. Can you believe it? 1 week away from Christmas Day. So hope you and the family doing well, JP.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, Bud. Man, it's great to see you here again on Tigers Roar. Of course, a couple weeks off. JP took the family on a school trip to go see Mickey Mouse in Disney World, Orlando, Florida. So happy to be back. Spent a lot of money, had a lot of great memories with the family, but happy to have you here watching us on Tigers Roar. Of course, it's a busy time of the year. You kind of alluded to it. The transfer portal is open and popping, and Coach Brian Kelly has not been afraid to be very aggressive in the portal this season, not like what we saw last season. So I'll let the Bud Man go over all of the additions and subtractions to this LSU football team. Of course, it was announced since the last time we spoke here on Tigers Roar that Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier would return to LSU for his last year of eligibility. Of course, that's big news for Brian Kelly and that LSU offense. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll also let you guys hear from Coach Brian Kelly. He held the press conference on Friday the 13th last week. Let you guys hear about 12 minutes of it. He talks about the transfer portal, his expectations for the Texas Bowl coming up against a very good Baylor team, coached by a familiar face in Dave Aranda. So lots of talent still opting into the bowl game. It's going to be a very competitive game by two teams that want to win, end the season on a high note. And LSU has their quarterback back behind center, but man, so a big show for you here on Tigers Roar. Of course, if you miss any of it or if you miss any shows in the past, go to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. All the Tigers Roars are archived right there for you viewing pleasure. While you're at the page, go ahead and click the notification, and the subscription button if you haven't done so already. You get notified every time we post something new right there at the YouTube page. Once again, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting.
You know, JP, the last time we did Tigers Roar, we talked about how important it was for Garrett Nussmeier to come back. So Nuss is going to be back and be playing in the game. No left tackle with Will Campbell. He's made 4 or 5 consecutive first-team All-American teams this year. So Will is going to be a high first-round pick. Garrett Dellinger got banged up and had the high ankle sprain. Look, I tried to tell everybody, when you're 340 pounds and you can't do anything for a couple of weeks, you're just not going to walk out there and play. And so it looks like he's done. Then, of course, DJ Chester will start at center in the game. He's back. Miles Frazier is a senior. He played right guard all year long. They're going to use him at right guard and right tackle in the bowl game. He is one of those seniors that will be playing. And, JP, this one I thought had a chance of coming back. But the big 5-0, Emory Jones, super classy guy. All these guys on the offensive line, you give a shout-out of appreciation. They're classy, they're tough, they're mean, they're big uglies. But didn't have the greatest of years as a unit. Did do a good job of pass blocking and pass pro. But as we know, LSU will be fielding basically a new line. And just to give you a little bit of heads up before we get into the transfer portal acquisitions, don't be surprised if Tyree Adams, who is a redshirt freshman, number 71, will line up and be your left tackle. Paul Mubinga, who's been playing the last 2 or 3 games, is going to be your left guard wearing 65. DJ Chester, if he plays center, will be number 79 right there. Miles Frazier, number 70, can play right guard or right tackle. Also, Bordelon is a guy that we thought would see a little bit more when Dellinger got hurt. He's going to be in the mix at offensive line. And Weston Davis, a freshman, redshirt freshman tackle on the right edge at right tackle, he will be number 75. So you'll see a combination of those 7 players. And, of course, we know that Frazier is playing, and they'll play him at both right tackle and right guard in this game. Mason Taylor out for the game. He has headed to the pros. Cameron Pimpton got into the transfer portal. So you'll probably see some walk-on tight ends. Giovanni Peterson, number 45, and a couple of other guys. So, JP, you know I'm a big stickler on Trey'Dez Green being a big wide receiver. But holy cow, you know, our buddy Mike Scarborough was freaking out at the wide receiver group. They have brought in and signed a bunch of guys coming in. And so before we get into all of the names and the new players coming in from the transfer portal, what do you expect in this Texas Bowl game? Nuss wasn't able to play a few years ago because at that time they had the rule, if you played in the bowl game, you would lose a year of eligibility. They have since changed that game, so you'll see some players like Wes Weeks, the brother of Whit Weeks, who will play in this game. You can play it 4 games in the regular season and in the bowl game and not lose a year. Wes wants to come back and play with his little brother, Whit Weeks, who will be a junior, and his youngest brother, Zach Weeks, who's coming in as a freshman. But look, it's going to be a piecemeal. Braden Swenson's going to still play. I'm expecting Josh Williams to play. We'll see if Zy Alexander plays, but right now it's hard to ascertain exactly who will be playing in the bowl game. playing against Dave Aranda and the Baylor Bears. They were 2-4 at the outset of the year, at the halfway point, and then won their last 6 games to finish 8-4. So 2 8-4 teams, 2:30 on a New Year's Eve, and I'm hoping that it looks appreciably better than the last time they won the Texas Bowl when, as we know, LSU had a wide receiver that had to play quarterback, JP.
Yeah, great point, Bud, man. And that really is the biggest storyline. Garrett Nussmeier will be under center for LSU Tigers. That's a huge get, if you will, for the Tigers. It was always kind of assumed that Garrett Nussmeier, having waited so long for his turn, would come back for his final year of eligibility for the LSU Tigers. And sure enough, he made the announcement a week and a half ago about. So, yeah, what I'm looking forward to for LSU against Baylor, Texas Bowl, NRG Stadium, 2:30 on December 31st. I'm looking for LSU to throw the ball all over the field, test out that wide receiver room. Gary Nussmeier does a great job of getting that ball out quick. The offensive line is going to be completely redone, as you mentioned, except for DJ Chester and Miles Frazier. So, yeah, they're going to try to run the ball. Baylor likes to run the football, but, man, they have a lot of first downs this season picked up on the ground. LSU mostly through the air. So I expect some of the same. LSU is going to air it out with Garrett Nussmeier. That defense is going to try to get after the quarterback of Baylor. But I'm looking forward to see Dave Aranda. I was a big Aranda fan when he was at LSU. Of course, wish him the best at Baylor, and I always cheer for Baylor, except for when they're playing LSU. And I hope LSU wins big out there in Houston on December 31st.
You know, folks, everybody, if you've watched and listened to us through all the years, we are procrastinators. That means if you're like me and you wait till the last week to go shopping, this is a perfect Christmas. I know it's kind of weird having Christmas on a Wednesday, so we're taping 1 week from today is 1 week away from Christmas. But, JP, I had to go to find a store. I had 4 Alabama fans that I all bought presents for, Christmas presents. You got any idea what I got them? They all got the same thing, JP. You know what I bought them?
Charmin box of tissues.
4 crying towels. Before we get into that LSU and new additions, I got to recap what the CFP did with the rendition of the first ever CFP 12. We'll get into it. JP, SMU stinks it up the first quarter, comes back and has a great comeback, and then Clemson wins it at the end. Did the committee get it right, in your opinion, putting obviously SMU in before a 3-loss Alabama team?
Now, Bud, man, this is a sticky situation. Do you count a strength of schedule over the opponents that you've actually beaten? I mean, Alabama lost to 2 teams that were like 6-6. One time it was by almost over 40 points. So I don't have a problem keeping Alabama out. I know everyone in the SEC was kind of expecting the Crimson Tide to make it because they lived through this recent history of do whatever it takes to get Alabama in. Look, the SEC championship kind of played a part in it, I think, but I don't think that Alabama was one of the top 12 teams in the league. Were they very talented? Of course. Jalen Milroe, very talented. One of the top quarterbacks is going to be drafted on this upcoming draft. But I think the committee got it right, keeping Alabama off. Just a down year for Alabama. But I do say, if Clemson doesn't beat SMU, nobody's even having this conversation. Alabama absolutely gets in, even with the losses. So 12 teams. I'm happy it played out the way it did. Don't think Alabama deserved to be in the first playoff, even though a lot of people I know we're betting on the Crimson Tide to be there.
And what this does, folks, is it puts focus in on these conference championship games. And look, SMU and other teams, if they had not gotten in, and JP made a great point, SMU doesn't have a lot of marquee wins on their schedule. But Alabama gave up 40-plus points to Vandy and lost that game over in Nashville. Oh, by the way, you Tiger fans, don't sleep on that. Tigers got to go back and play Vandy over there next year for 2025. And then I think, JP, getting beat by, as you alluded to, a 6-6 Oklahoma team by 21 points, that was what determined them not getting in. JP, before we wrap up the committee talk, I don't think people are too enamored with some of the seedings. Oregon's the #1 team in the country, but yet the way they have it with the brackets and the seedings, they'll play the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee, whereas Boise State appreciably lower team is going to have an easier first-round opponent. So I do think they need to tweak some of the seedings, and they'll tweak it. But for our first year with the CFP 12, I give them a solid B, but we can always make it better. Don't forget, after one more year of 12, the CFP in 26 will move on to 14. And, of course, as we know, JP, I will see, along with the rest of the media, BK on Saturday morning. That'll be our last opportunity to talk with the head coach. And he's smart enough to know that there are two things that LSU fans are, I don't want to say expecting, but hoping for. This is going to be year 4 of BK. They want to see them open up with a win at Clemson, but they want to see LSU in the playoffs in year 4. Yep. And, you know, we always have fun with playoffs, like Jim Mora used to say, but it is too early to ascertain how good they will be. But let's go ahead and do this. Let's take our first quick time out. We'll come back. Couldn't do it with all of our great sponsors, and we certainly appreciate you patronizing all of our great sponsors here at Pelican Sports TV and Radio. Back with more from Tigers Roar. We'll get right into all of the acquisitions on the transfer portal, and you are going to love what BK's done in the portal. Back on a Wednesday morning right here on Tigers Roar on Pelican Sports TV.
If you're ready for a new car that's designed to take you where you want to go, whenever you want to go, now's the time to find out all there is to know about the new Mazda CX-50, named an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus award winner. Save on your new Mazda right now at Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
And we welcome you back once again, another edition of Tigers Roar. Hopefully you'll see this show tonight at 8 o'clock, but you'll see the replay throughout the holiday season. Let's go right into it. You saw our opening, BK taking the kids shopping and Jonathan Poche will go and start talking about these transfer portal acquisitions. Bauer Sharp is the first young man that signs on the dotted line. He is a 6'2", 6'3", 245-pound tight end. Led Oklahoma in receptions and yards. Once again, be cognizant that they had 6 wide receivers get hurt. But with the departure of Mason Taylor, JP, this was a definite you had to get a tight end, and I think they might even need another tight end. But, man, I don't know if you've seen the tape on Bauer Sharp, but he's going to come in and be a guy that you'll plug in and play at tight end this upcoming season.
Yeah, but, man, you mentioned the 42 receptions that led Oklahoma, but what Coach Brian Kelly's going to talk about in the press conference is he was impressed with the physicality. Blocking in the run game, can block a tackle. He can pull across the line and get a good block. He's also very good on the outside, going one-on-one with those hold blocks against cornerbacks and DBs. So, yeah, LSU, like you said, losing Mason Taylor, they had a plethora of tight ends at one time. They moved Tre'Davious Green to wide receiver. So, a big get, a guy, like you said, led Oklahoma in receptions and yards with those 42 catches last season. A big get for Coach Brian Kelly.
All right, the next 2 guys that we introduced to you, Jakeem Jackson and from Florida, and Mansour Delane or Delane. I've heard different pronunciations on both. His brother was a big-time safety who was a recruit for this class, signed with Ohio State. Delane from Virginia Tech is a lockdown corner, and Jackson is a kid that had a relationship with Corey Raymond at Florida. All of a sudden, JP, we talk about the cornerback room. Jackson and Delane are going to come in and look, there's some of these guys that have been bruised and hurt, and so you don't know how good they'll be coming off the injury. But right off the bat, then you add DJ Pickett and Aiden Andings. Yep. That's 4 corners along with Ashton Stamps and the rest of the guys. Cornerback got appreciably deeper with these 2 transfer portal guys that have experience, and I think you'll see a bunch of guys playing the corner. But Delane, Jackson, DJ Pickett, those 3 guys, along with Ashton Stamps, right now on paper, probably your top 4 corners going into the season.
Yeah, and I think on paper, Delane is a great get for LSU. He's number 2 cornerback, according to a lot of people, rated in the portal. He's played a lot of snaps, Bud, man. Has 1,826 collegiate snaps, 124 tackles, 4 forced fumbles, 6 interceptions, and 11 pass breakups. Big get for Coach Corey Raymond.
All right, our next 3 guys that we're going to give you are all wide receivers, and we're talking about Barrion Brown from Kentucky. He is a burner guy that really can pick him up and lay him down. I think he's had like 5 I don't know if those are touchdowns on punt returns or kickoff returns, but he's had 5 special team big plays and touchdowns, big-time speed. The second receiver coming in was Destin Hill. He is the teammate of Aaron Anderson from Carr. He was at Florida State. Not a big guy, 5'10", about 185, 190, but another guy that can fly. And then last night, the icing on the cake with the wide receiver room, Nick Anderson, a guy who's 6'4", 220, another guy with Louisiana ties. He played 1 game last year and was out for the whole year, but in the year previous had 31 catches, and 10 of those were for touchdowns. Now you've got a big guy that can run, but I think it's obvious even to the most casual observer, yes, you've got Xavier Thomas coming back. Yes, you've got Aaron Anderson coming back. Yes, of course, you've got a couple of other guys, including Kyle Parker and Chris Hilton. But, man, right there, that is appreciable depth for both the corner and wide receiver room. And a lot of these guys, JP, are going to be plug-and-play guys that are going to come in here and be in the 2 deep from day one.
Yeah, immediate impact guys. That's exactly what you're kind of looking for in the transfer portal. You know, some people equate it to like they're mercenaries. They're mercs ready to go. You sign them up, you go to work. And a lot of these guys are immediate impact players. I really like Nick Anderson, a touchdown machine, Bud, man. Big body, going to really help in the red zone. You mentioned the kid from Kentucky. Had the kick return last year for a touchdown. And you throw him in with Aaron Anderson and Xavier Thomas. Lots of athletes in that wide receiver room. And you bring in Nick Anderson, a guy with a lot of size. Once again, just refill here at Wide Receiver University.
And let's give Chris Hilton and Garrett Nussmeier a shout-out. Of course, in that Oklahoma game, finally Chris Hilton was able to time his jumps and maybe not jump too early like he's done previous when he was a little rusty coming back, but 2 big touchdowns for him. Man, all of a sudden, JP, you got to feel like LSU is going to throw the deep ball appreciably better next year with all of these guys that can stretch the defense vertical. Speaking of defense, we know Kevin Peoples. If you don't know him, he's the best edge rush coacher in the country. Everybody will tell you that. And look what he got out of Braden Swinson, and look what he got out of Savion Jones. And now you've got a kid, Jamari Butler from Nebraska, and, of course, Jack Pyborn from Florida. Pyborn is a guy that played for Florida last year. He's going to be playing against Florida this year's old team on week 3 when LSU hosts Florida. But 2 guys on their edge. And we know, JP, in this game of college football, you've got to have sacks. You've got to have pressures and hurries. The great thing about Pyburn, though, he does a great job of playing the run on the edge. And let's be honest, LSU had some problems playing the run on the edge this year.
Yeah, Pyburn, a tough guy that's going to do his job. He's very versatile. He can also drop back in coverage a little bit. Did have an interception, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble last year. 60 tackles in 2024 under Billy Napier. And you mentioned the coaching he's going to get here at LSU. This guy's, his ceiling is through the roof. Looking forward to what LSU has picked up in the portal on the edge. And Bud, man, I don't know if you've seen this tape, but Pyburn, he's a nasty fella.
Oh, yeah.
He likes to mix it up. He's a hard-nosed guy, and he's not afraid to mix it up after the whistle either. So, with the attitude and the effort from Pyburn, picking him up for LSU Tigers.
You know, we got to get him hooked up with Manda on an NIL deal. He could consume some spicy smoked sausage from my great friends over at Manda Fine Meats where flavor and spice. And Jack Pyburn really do say it all. Hey, last guy that is signed, sealed, and delivered is Michael Van Buren. Of course, as we know, this is a kid that was the starter for Mississippi State the last 8 games, was a big-time 4-star quarterback from Maryland. And look, we had this discussion on all of our different shows. What do you do for a backup with Nuss? Do you go portal? Do you go recruit? Bryce Baker decided to stay in Carolina and is going to play for Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels. So Michael Van Buren, how much have you seen him? Boy, I tell you what, he had over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against Georgia.
Right.
Had a big game against Texas A&M. And he gives LSU some run-pass option, especially inside the red zone, JP.
Yeah, dual threat, 256 out of 310, 11 passing TDs. Budman had 1,885 passing yards, 5 rushing touchdowns with 162 rushing yards. And look, you have a kid that flips right before signing day, stays at Michigan for $13 million. Frees up a whole lot of money for LSU to then go spend in the portal, and you pick up this freshman who already proven he can do it in the SEC. A lot of success through the air and the ground, and still, I mean, you saw what Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, they all did in their year 2. Joe Sloan had Jaden Daniels, and here we go. Garrett Nussmeier coming into his second full year of starting. You mentioned that deep ball, only going to improve for Nussmeier, and I can't wait to see what Coach Sloan can dial up. Because, look, Jawan Johnson, a fantastic athlete that was out of LCA. They put him at running back for LSU. He did run a little bit of wildcat. This is the same kind of cut from the same cloth. This kid's very good with his legs, but he also throw the ball. So excited to see what LSU can do with these new additions out of the portal on both sides of the ball, Bud, man, offense and defense.
I can just see Jack Pyburn right now putting his hands up to the crowd at Tiger Stadium, calling, give me some love, give me some noise. It's going to be interesting. All right, 2 other guys that have implications for LSU in the transfer portal. Braylon Moore, a big, strong, nasty offensive lineman from Virginia Tech. He's played center and guard in the 6'3", 305, 310 range. And then there's also a kid now that's coming over here for a visit in the next couple of days, Sadir Mitchell, who is 6'5.5", 350-plus pounds. JP, we've talked about this. LSU needed more physicality across the board. I think that speed and physicality are 2 of the things that these guys now, Moore and Mitchell, are not signed yet, but they are expected to be, and that would put LSU at 11. And JP, Obviously, you need another tight end. You need a safety or two. And I'll ask you, you're in the room. Do you go get a punter in the portal, or do you pick up a punter from the walk-on range like most of special teams guys? A lot of times the walk-on kickers and punters are better than the ones that get the scholarship. But I certainly think you've got to put some pressure on Peyton Todd because that was just not good enough. LSU's got to have better special teams and better punting. But overall, the offensive lineman for VTech, have you seen his film? And he's a guy that most people feel like will come in and possibly start, or you could move DJ Chester to guard. So a guy like that can play center and guard is definitely. And they've got a big old Samoan offensive tackle from Wazoo, Washington State, that's coming in for a visit. I think he's going to visit Nebraska and LSU, another big offensive lineman. You can't have enough big uglies. You can't be physical enough at the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defense in the SEC, JP.
Yeah, and Bud, man, that was kind of the blueprint that I thought that Brian Kelly was going to follow as soon as he got down to the SEC. It had to build up that offensive line, have to build up the defensive line, because every other team in the SEC has grown men that can move mountains if they wanted to put their heads together. That's hyperbole, of course, but yeah, as many big uglies as you can add on both sides of the ball, the better. I like the idea of moving DJ Chester over to a guard position. Not that he did a bad job at center, but we did see a lot of dry snaps for an LSU center this season out of DJ Chester. Look, freshman playing his first year of college football, I understand it's going to happen, but a big body guy with good feet, I believe he could transition seamlessly to that guard position, Bud, man. So I like what Coach Brian Kelly is doing so far. Aggressive in the transfer portal. It's not over yet. Still got about a week left to go ahead and add some more pieces. So still work to be done, Bud, man, but a lot of talent out of that top 100 that graded out of the portal. So Coach Brian Kelly had a plan. He was very aggressive from the jump. He had that money to spend since Bryce Underwood gifted them that extra millions that they weren't going to spend on him. So, yeah, we'll see what plays out. But, Bud, man, I ask you before we go to break, who is, in your opinion, the biggest addition so far, both signing class and transfer portal? I'm going to take it right now. I'm going to say Garrett Nussmeier, re-recruiting him to come back for his last year eligibility is my biggest get for the offseason so far. But in your opinion, what do you have, Bud, man?
Man, I tell you what, that is a tough question. I'm going to have to talk to Santa Claus about that one to see which one is the brightest gift under the Christmas tree. Look, DJ Pickett is a big-time five-star. He's going to help restore LSU back to DBU. I love the potential at wide receiver. Love the depth at cornerback. Got to get some safeties. Got to get, as we said, another offensive lineman. They've loaded up at linebacker. And, look, this LSU football team is going to look appreciably different going into it. And, as always, we certainly at this time of the year thank all of you for following us and following all of our shows. Look, we try to do you a good job every week, every 2 weeks, whenever we come on to give you what our eyes are seeing, what our ears are hearing. And I think with this latest barrage, let me see who else comes in. Oh, by the way, I got corrected. You said it. The first portal ends on December 28th, which is 10 days from today. But for those teams that are in the CFP, those players have an additional time to get into the portal. There also will be another high school recruiting signing date in the first Wednesday in February, and then another spring portal time. And that is where maybe they can pick up a safety on one of these teams that's in the CFP 12 right now, JP, that you may have one of those guys that decides to get into the portal. But for the most part, LSU doing a great job. And who knows, maybe the coach will even get a couple of presents from Santa Claus after the job he's done. So kids, be good. Don't forget, Santa's watching every little move. You better make sure you take care of your business. And once again, we'll talk about the reason for the season as we come back and let you hear from the head man, Brian Kelly, on a Wednesday edition of Buddy's Sports Talk. The radio today, 1:30. Taping Tigers Roar today. Also, don't forget Chris Powers taping today. So you'll see CP and JP later on in the week with that great show following all of us here on Tigers Roar on Pelican Sports TV. Back right after this.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. huge wine and liquor selection, beer and all the spices you need, Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats, ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs, 20 flavors of sausage for the grill, daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremontes.com.
Few things in life are as valuable as family and peace of mind, especially when it comes to your final arrangements, and that's where Lee Serio can help. His prepaid funeral plans make sure your life will be remembered exactly the way you want it to. With Lee Serio, no detail is too large or too small. Call Lee or his wife Gretchen at 225-315-6329. Let Lee Serio give you and your family the peace of mind you all deserve.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
It's game time at Team Toyota. Whether you're tailgating or heading into the stadium, dominate the road and drive like a champion in your new Toyota. Get off the sidelines and save thousands at Team Toyota, I-12 at O'Neill. Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
And we welcome you back as always. Hey, if you're busy like all of us, once again, don't forget that we are here with the Christmas season 1 week from Christmas. So an early Merry Christmas to all of you and your families. And we hope you bring it in with a blessed and a great, I guess you could say, JP, what's Christmas now? I guess by the time you shop and eat and exchange gifts and you look up, we'll have another weekend. It's hard to believe, JP, Christmas is here so quick. And I think you can point to the fact that Thanksgiving was a little bit later. But, man, these last 30 to 60 days have just flown by, haven't they?
Well, Bud, man, not only is it Christmas time, but, of course, the New Year is right around the corner. Year 2025 is going to be the year that my firstborn son graduates high school. So, yeah. Absolutely surreal. The years have just flown by. Of course, you get to enjoy all the sports, and then football season's here, and then before you know it, football season is just about over. So right around Christmas time, of course, we don't want to let Christmas pass. We won't have a show next week, so we want to tell you right now, don't forget the reason of the season. Hallelujah, Emmanuel, God with us. A Savior is born in Jesus Christ. And if you haven't accepted Jesus as your Savior, this could be the year for you. All it takes is a prayer. Open up your heart to the Lord and Savior, and He will make everything easier for your entire life and afterlife. Trust me on that one. It's in the book. I read it. Don't worry about it. So happy Christmas, happy holidays, but don't forget the reason of the season, Bud, man. I know you will be celebrating with your family, and so will I. We hope you all have a very safe and productive, happy holiday season. But please keep in mind that we celebrate for the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ.
No doubt about it. And look, I say it all day long. Jesus, I trust in you. And look, if you don't believe in God, you better be right. By the way, special his first son, Drew Poche, who made, was that all district?
Yep, District 10 5A, all district linebacker, but also was honored with the defensive MVP for District 10 5A. So thank you, Bud, man. Shout out Drew Poche. Had a fantastic year, and to the Lord be the glory.
And I'm talking to Brian Kelly and seeing if we can get him as a PWO. That's a preferred walk-on. Speaking of BK, hey, he's not superstitious. He met the media on Friday the 13th. Here we go. Roll the tape. Brian Kelly talking with the media last Friday out at LSU.
We just concluded our second practice in preparation for the bowl game, and you know, obviously getting our guys out, getting them back moving after, the layoff was important, and now we'll celebrate the individual accomplishments of our team tomorrow with our end of the year banquet. Monday we'll shop with a player, our annual Christmas event where our players get an opportunity to give back to the community. Our Kelly Cares Foundation, along with Hancock Whitney and our other sponsor, I believe, is Aflac, right? Aflac will be shopping with young boys and girls from our community and making sure they have a great Christmas. So a couple of things on the agenda for our group. And then back to a full week of practice next week in preparation for a really good Baylor football team. So that's kind of what's going on, as well as you can imagine, through the media, you guys have seen, whether it's been on Twitter or Instagram, or as Coach Belichick has now coined the phrase, my face. I kind of love that. That's awesome that we've created a new platform in social media. That guys have announced whether they're in the portal or whether they're going to the NFL, and we're maneuvering through all of those, as well as recruiting, and certainly a very busy time. So I'm sure you got questions, so let's get at it.
Coach, right here, obviously, you have a press release about the $1 million match challenge. Can you just talk a little bit more about that, maybe where the idea came from, and just obviously the overall goals of it?
Well, I figured that after my last press conference, where I pretty much challenged the entire LSU fan base, that if they wanted to continue to have a championship program, that they needed to understand that there's a financial responsibility as well, that I needed to put my money where my mouth was and be part of that as well. And so that's the genesis of that relative to the $1 million. So my wife and I are going to match up to $1 million, new monies that are donated through NIL that are earmarked for football, so we can be competitive in that space. And I thought that it should start with me and then continue to work through all the other, avenues that are available to us.
Through a couple of days of practice, you have a good idea, what kind of team you're going to put on the field in this bowl game and what kind of participation you're going to have?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
good?
Oh, yeah. We'll have a very competitive football team that will go out and represent LSU in a manner that we expect. Our guys are excited about playing. Every player that is on that practice field is 100% committed and excited about being there. We don't have one guy that is like, I got to do this. I mean, they are excited. And when you have that, you have great morale, guys that are committed and will play hard for LSU. And that, like, when you're talking about representing the brand, you want a team that's going to go out there and compete their tail off, and this football team will.
At tight end specifically, how are you guys planning on going about that with Mason?
Oh, we got tight ends. We got so many tight ends. I mean, you just go up and down the roster. You can find tight ends. Look, we'll have to be creative, but we feel very comfortable that we can put our offense in a position that will be very effective, and clearly we don't have Mason, and he was a great target, but we're excited about the next step for him, and support him 1,000% in what his decision was. but we have other guys on our roster that are going to be able to step in, and we feel great about what they can do for us.
Is Garrett healthy and practicing and available right now since the injury against Oklahoma?
Yes, he practiced. We're going to be careful with his pitch count, and when I use that term pitch count in terms of throws, he was about, we try to keep him about 60% today in terms of throws, but physically moving around, participated in 7-on-7, our 11-on-11 today, 1-on-1, so he's doing everything. We're just trying to keep his player load down a little bit right now, and we'll continue to ramp it up over the week.
If you could kind of discuss your offensive line availability for the bowl game, and then just the bowl game in general, how valuable are these practices and getting to look at what you could have for 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I like our group. Now, would I like the, Will Campbell starting at left tackle and Emory Jones at right tackle? Absolutely, but we're excited about the next step for those guys as well, right? Tyree Adams will get an opportunity. We have great confidence in him. Paul will continue to play for us, Mubanga. DJ Chester, obviously, getting an opportunity. Bo Bordelon gets an opportunity now to play some football for us. Colin Eccles, is a guy that we have a lot of trust in. Miles Frazier is going to play in the bowl game. He has position flexibility, so we may kick him out to tackle and give us some help out there. We really like the progression of Weston Davis that can play tackle for us on both sides. So, again, I think we feel really good about the guys that we're going to put out there. And as an offensive line, as a group of 5 guys, we're going to be able to compete with anybody. Yeah, I mean, again, I think that this is a look at what 2025 could look at. As you know, we're in the transfer portal as well. We're going to build positional depth as well, and you'll see that, as we continue to work through the transfer portal. But we want to blend some youth with some positional depth as well. So we're addressing that as we speak. So you'll kind of see that as we move forward.
Coach, I was just going to ask you, how are the portal visits going so far? I know it's very early, but are you getting a sense of how it's going to go, and you think you'll be able to get what you need?
Yeah, look, recruiting in this model is not ideal, right? Because you don't have, market kind of target numbers. It's not true free agency, right? In the NFL, you got to go 4 years, and then after 4 years, there's a number. This is what you get. You walk into a building and you go, this is what I demand, right? And so you can truly recruit them, right? You say, hey, this is why you should come to our club. This is why, and this is the plan we have. This one's a little bit different. And we're still recruiting, right? We're talking about where you fit. This is the plan we have for you. This is why this makes sense for you. And then you have to deal with all the other iterations relative to contracts and things of that nature. But we believe we've got a great plan. We believe that we're in a position that we can be competitive with everybody in the country relative to what those contracts look like. And we feel confident that we're going to be able to put together the team that is needed to compete for the national championship.
Hey, Coach, are you allowed to talk about Bauer Sharp yet? There was a report that he signed his papers to come here.
Yes.
So what does he sort of bring to the tight end room for next season as obviously a veteran from Oklahoma?
Yeah, so the things that we like about it is, first of all, he's a talented player, but he's got physicality, especially in the run game. If you watch him closely, I mean, some of the things they did with him in the passing game, we've seen from other tight ends, right? But if you really look at his body of work, it's the physicality in the run game, pulling, blocking tackles, out on the perimeter. Love his physicality in the run game. Still, a very good athlete. Came in as a quarterback, in at Southeast Louisiana, and certainly has the ability to do some really good things in the passing game for us as well. But I think what really stood out was having that kind of versatility in the run game and the passing game.
When you talked about recruiting and the difficulty, when you hire staff members now, is there still a lot of value in hiring guys that are known as great recruiters, just because maybe the value of that has changed so much because it has seemingly become more transactional than relational?
I still believe that the ability to communicate and connect is still, so if we say that in years past it was 100% recruiting, it's now, a margin lower than that, but relationships still matter. And the ability to connect and build those relationships matter. And I think as we continue to navigate through this new world order, if you will, there's going to be a market that flattens the lines. In other words, receivers are X, quarterbacks are X. And when that becomes even across the board, it's going to swing back to relationships. It's going to swing back to those that can connect and those programs that fit. So maybe right now the pendulum has swung a little bit towards the other way, but it's going to come back.
Corey, at the time BK had their press conference last Friday, they had only brought in Bauer Sharp. They have added an additional 8 players, and everybody expecting Braylon Moore, the Virginia Tech O-lineman that can play center and guard. They feel like he's signed, and they will announce that in the next couple of days. As we said, a big, ugly Sadir Mitchell from Texas is coming in. He played for Bo Davis when he was at Texas. He's in the transfer portal, even though Texas is in the CFP. 6'6", about 350. And Fahili Fa'omohu, Omowe, I forgot. I'm butchering his last name. JP, we tried to look it up. But 6'5", 315, a big, ugly from Washington State coming to visit. And so you get a safety or two, a big, ugly on the D-line, a big, ugly on the offensive line, and a punter. Man, Tiger fans are going to be excited as Santa Claus bringing all new toys, right?
Yeah, but man, absolutely. And we are a little bit short on time, so take our last break of the evening. Come back, we'll wrap it up. You're watching Tigers Roar right here on Pelican Sports TV.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. taste the feeling.
It's game time at Team Toyota. Whether you're tailgating or heading into the stadium, dominate the road and drive like a champion in your new Toyota. Get off the sidelines and save thousands at Team Toyota, I-12 at O'Neill. Toyota, official vehicle of the New Orleans Saints.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
I got hungry looking at that great sausage from Manda Fine Meats. Don't forget those Manda hams are fantastic for Christmas. We appreciate all of our great sponsors. Greystone Golf and Country Club. Don't forget about them in 2025. Team Honda, Team Toyota, Team Mazda, and JP. Once again, want to give you great wishes and a Merry Christmas to you and your great family. Hey, Saints played the Washington Commanders, made a great comeback. Darren Rizzi went for the win and the 2-point play wasn't converted, so Washington and Jaden Daniels and the Commanders win 20-19. 30 seconds on that Saints final game that we saw on Sunday.
There you go. Darren Rizzi absolutely has his team playing hard for him. I'll put the shades on because the Saints lost a heartbreaker. Jaden Daniels comes in, had a great game both through with his feet and through the air. Saints had a chance at the end, went for 2. No problem with the call, especially with the plethora of injuries. No Derek Carr, Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara got banged up. Rashid Shaheed, Olave, you go through the list, all the injuries, and still playing hard right till the end. Got to give credit to Darren Rizzi. Unfortunately, it looks like he is not going to be the head coach for the Saints next year. That's unfortunate for Darren Rizzi, but the Saints fans have a lot to be encouraged about. A lot of big names floating around for the new head coach job. So still, we'll see what happens with Mickey Loomis. He might leave in the offseason, but a lot can happen between now and the start of the new year. So with that, Bud, man, I wish everyone out there a very happy holiday season, a Merry Christmas, and a very safe and prosperous new year to you and yours, Bud, man. Certainly appreciate you. Couldn't do it without you, as you know. Love being the co-host here on Tigers Roar, and look forward to doing many, many more seasons with you right here on Pelican Sports TV.
Yeah, shout out to all the guys who make it work. Marty does a tremendous job working tirelessly. Don't forget Red Stick Bowl this Saturday. Also a special shout out to Alan Traylor, Bert Carson, our great owners over here at Pelican Sports TV and Radio. Hey, listen, getting ready to do radio at 1 to 3. And once again, real quick, LSU playing once again on New Year's Eve afternoon, 2:30 in Houston in the Texas Bowl against the Baylor Bears. JP said it well. Happy, safe, blessed Christmas. See you in 2025, everybody, for another edition of Tigers Roar.